What's up, everybody? Welcome to What's Up, the show where we talk all things energy. We'll share some stories. We've been known to share a few energy-based puns from time to time, and we'll make sure you have the information you need to make informed energy choices. I'm your host for this episode. My name is Colin Adkins, and I am joined by my fellow community energy advisors and Cornell Cooperative Extension educators working on NYSERDA's Community Energy Engagement Program, Sean Welsh and Danielle Salisbury. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Through this program, local community energy advisors in 10 regions across the state help residents and businesses reduce their energy consumption and energy costs and make informed energy decisions. So today we'll be posting our contact information in the comments section of the Facebook post, along with any other helpful resources that we mentioned today. So if you'd like to ask us a question, please feel free. Do so through the comments section, and feel free to share this with anyone you know who might like to play along. Today, guys, I'm thinking about jobs. I'm thinking about a little bit about the economic implications of COVID. It's something people are very keyed into these days. But I'm also talking about how strong certain industries have been even through some of this stuff. And it's been interesting and a little bit heartening to see what the clean energy sector has been able to do, not just in New York State, but across the country right now, in response to COVID and despite COVID. And kind of the picture of this big industry that is still growing, and it has been growing for now a couple of years. You guys tell us a little bit why this industry has been so strong to start?
Well, I mean, we've seen a strong commitment to the industry from the state of New York, and particularly the governor has kind of really driven that over the last, I would say, decade plus, right? And now we have the CLCPA. It really kind of like follows up and really leans into that and reinforces, that commitment is going to be there ongoing till we reach these goals. So some of these goals from the Climate Act, I mean, I guess now it's being called the Climate Act, right, Colin?
There's been a couple. So first, the Climate Leadership and Citizen Preparedness Act. That's the one a lot of people point to that set those really ambitious targets for our renewables. Yep.
So, I mean, the Climate Act really kind of looks at those big goals. By 2050, we want to see 85% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. By 2040, we're looking at 100% carbon-free electricity being generated in the state of New York. Just those two goals alone, those are the tip of the iceberg to me, but those two goals scream like, how are we going to get this done? And it's going to take a workforce to do that. If you look at the other goals that the Climate Act gives, the next one down is 70% renewable energy by 2030. 9,000 megawatts of offshore wind they want to see produced by, what year is that one? By 2035, 3,000 megawatts of energy storage by 2030, and then 6,000 megawatts of solar by 2025. So all these goals really, are great goals and are very ambitious. And how are we going to get done? We need a workforce to support that. Mm-hmm.
Especially on such a timeline too. I mean, it's a very ambitious timeline, and you need to invest in your workforce in order to get everything done in the time that we'd like, which is, I love the ambitiousness of it. And just as a quick insert, Sean, when you said CLCPA, that's the acronym for Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. So if anybody wanted to delve more into that, I know we sometimes refer to it as the Climate Act. It's got there's the different names, different iterations of it, but just to be clear on that one.
Mm-hmm. And I've had some conversations with folks about this, and they say, all right, well, so we've got something on paper. Well, what does that actually do, right? And the way I think of it is, these are the state's promise to workforces, to businesses out there to say, we're going to make this happen, and we're going to support this industry. So those targets are kind of like a promise in a way, to continue to drive those ongoing jobs. There's like the 1.2 gigawatt New York Sun pipeline. And so there's some very specific targets, but then there's also things like the recent announcement from the governor's office of like a specific dollar amount that the state is putting forward to help support this industry. Things like $1 billion through the year 2025, specifically to help low to moderate income households. So these do things like grow programs for community engagement and education. They provide the assistance for low-income households to deliver and get those lower energy burdens. And it's also things like improving accessibility to these emerging technologies like clean heating and cooling technologies, heat pumps, that kind of thing. Those are also all promises, some of them very explicit and very, kind of dollar amounts, and some of them are targets and they're signals to this big industry that we've got your back, those kinds of things. My question to you guys though is like, this is a big industry and it's comprised of many things. Can you help us break it down, like who is in the clean energy industry?
Yeah, sure. And like you were saying, a lot of the efforts right now are focused on energy efficiency and renewable energy. And so those actually comprise the top two sectors of when we talk about clean energy employment. Those are the top two. The biggest one by far is energy efficiency. So we have, according to a report by NYSERDA, the New York Clean Energy Industry Report from 2019, there were approximately 123,000 workers in the energy efficiency sector. This is being, including lights and things including Energy Star appliances, insulation, advanced building materials, renewable heating and cooling, and the list goes on. And then that second largest sector is about 22,000 people, jobs are in renewable electric power generation. So that's like, your solar generation, your wind generation, like Sean was saying, how we have that wind target, the offshore wind target by 2035. That's where a lot of these jobs are coming from here. There's also the alternative transportation with about 8.6 thousand jobs in that. And this is including, electric hybrid cars, plug-in hybrids, fuel cell hydrogen vehicles, which I'm going to take a quick second right here to plug. Very soon in the next coming weeks, we're actually going to have a WhatsApp about alternative transportation, specifically electric vehicles. So stay tuned for that. And then the last two little groups of this clean energy employment is renewable fuels, like biofuels, like wood pellets and ethanol, which have about 2.6 thousand jobs. And then the smallest is grid modernization and storage, which are things like working on the smart grid, microgrids, and energy storage. And that's about 2.1 thousand. So that's like a very general breakup of the clean energy sector, and more or less as of 2019, about how many people were working in those.
And even those smaller ones, I mean, some of these are extremely fast growing, and they are services that support other aspects of this bigger effort. If we're going to get to 100% renewables, 100% clean energy, you do have to have that grid modernization and storage. Like that's part of it, and that's a particular segment of the workforce right now, as well as the ones that are helping us lower our consumption right now. That really strong contingency of energy efficiency contractors and professionals out there represent, I think, like 78% of all the jobs that are in this clean energy workforce right now, and they are really the core of that workforce. So, a shout out to all of our contractors here in the Mid-Hudson region who do this work day in and day out to help folks lower their energy consumption. We can't do this work without all the men and women out there doing this. So thanks and kudos to all those folks who are carrying it in stride despite COVID and doing all the things that we need to do to stay safe out there. 100%.
I would just add on, if anyone's looking for a job, looking to get hands-on training, you don't necessarily have experience in it, in a field that's like this. These are great places to go for a job. A lot of different contractors will offer on-the-job training. They can help you kind of get certificates and get certified in all the different modules that are required from the Building Performance Institute and NYSERDA and all that. But, to be a NYSERDA contractor and do this work, you don't necessarily have to have all those certifications to get on with a crew. Okay. Only a couple guys usually on a crew have those certifications and everything. But if you're coming out of school or you're looking for a job now, these are really, really, viable options for folks.
It is. It's a really strong time to consider, this industry, this giant industry with many different components. Whatever your skills, whatever your interests, there's a lot to explore, I think, within here. Not to mention all the other organizations out there supporting the industry. The nonprofit groups, the advocacy groups, the workforce development training programs, educators. We had a great example just this past summer of, a rising Cornell student, got 1 year left thinking about what he might like to do after graduation. And he's coming from a marketing and finance background, but then just kind of came into this sustainability work through some of his coursework, took an interest and was wondering what, is this something I might be interested in? So when he came to us over the summer to do some work, he said outright, this wasn't my background, but this is something that I'm super interested in. So I wanted to play you guys this clip of a conversation that he and I had very recently. So I'm gonna play that clip right now. So Tien, can you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us why you were interested in working on this internship with Cornell Cooperative Extension, Dutchess County?
Hi, Colin. Thank you very much. So my name is Tien Vo, and I am a senior studying finance and marketing at Cornell University. Aside from school, I also work for a service learning organization where I learn a lot about social justice and many principles of community service. This year, with the pandemic going on and everything, I really want to spend my summer serving the community one way or another. And this internship not only fulfilled that, but it's also allowed me to apply my study in marketing to serve the work as well. So the work that Community Energy Engagement Program do is extremely valuable to the community. And I am very proud and happy to spend my summer being a part of that.
Cool. Oh, that's good to hear. And can you tell me a little bit too about what your experience was kind of like before the internship, maybe what you thought what was gonna be about, and then what your experience was like during the internship, and kind of how you approached it.
So before this, I have a couple years of experience doing community service and some skills in design and visualization that I pick up here and there, just to support some of my work as well as class projects. But I've always had like an interest toward energy sector, but this is actually my first exposure ever to the industry. So my experience for this internship would just be applying some of those skills in designs and marketing to provide some of the strategies or insights for the outreach strategy of the programs. And mostly with just like research, external research.
Very cool. We won't have to go into too much detail because there's a broad number of topics in there, but how would you recommend that anybody who has an interest in energy topics or clean energy, but might not have the background in those topics, but an interest like you did, what would you recommend for anyone kind of looking to come into the field?
I guess my advice would just be to be confident and to just go for it. No matter what your area of expertise is, there's always value that you can bring to energy work. And for me, I did not have any background in energy, but my interest kept me learning. And through the support I had from the program, I was able to connect my experience and background in marketing to contribute some value to the organization.
So yeah, in a nutshell, this is a great time to consider your niche in the energy industry. If you're looking for a career change, if you're just getting into the workforce and wondering what you might like to do to earn an income to support your friends and family, can consider this. And of course, we, the community energy advisors, would love to help anybody interested in that, help connect you with the many players, local contractors, whomever in our region who do this work every day. And not to mention all the NYSERDA programs that are out there in clean energy workforce development. There's so much stuff. I'm just going to throw a link on the screen for folks to go find more, because there's just not enough time to talk about all of it. Especially because I wanted to give a special shout out to some work that's happening in our region that I am super impressed with. I know we've talked about it and love working with the folks over at Citizens for Local Power. They just launched their Empower Kingston program, which is a workforce development program. It's great. They have this awesome video, not to be confused with NYSERDA's Empower New York program. They have very similar names, but Empower Kingston is just a tremendous program. So we want to close out today by sharing a little video that the folks from Citizens for Local Power put together. We want to thank everybody for watching, and come back and watch our next episode all about electric vehicles. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week.
My name is Judith Karpova, and you can call me a building scientist and an energy auditor. Yeah, this is double pane. Okay. The big picture is that we're facing a climate change crisis. We're warming up. 30 to 40% of it comes from our buildings. What I'm interested in is where's the boundary between outside and inside. This is seriously under-insulated attic. That warm color is heat coming up from below. Then I turn that data of what's the insulation in the walls, what's the insulation in the roof, what's the insulation in the basement. I turn that into a software model. And that will also give predictions on how much they're going to save. It matters one home and one building at a time.
Maria wanted to eventually write something. If any of us wanted to write something, because it is Earth Day in April, they dedicate their magazine to that. So if anyone wanted to write something.
Seems like we really should do that.
Yes, we can write it a little piece about Empower Kingston.
Yeah.
Empower Kingston is an effort to bring together groups around Kingston, anyone who is ready to have that talk about how we can educate our community, engage our community in a more sustainable way around energy.
This is going to be the world we're living on for the rest of our lives. I mean, at this point, it's our jobs to try to change things.
What can we do with this land that would be meaningful and that would really help the community? And it is in that light that we found out that, well, solar can be placed even in a flood zone. And so this is one way that we can give back to the community, and at the same time we can be responsible for the world.
And we also need to support developing the workforce needed.
And right from the foundation up, we're going green. Youth Builds a program. We work with students that are 16 to 24 years old that dropped out of high school. Part of the program is they're with us for 4 days a week on the construction site, learning construction skills as well as job readiness skills.
In Kingston and Ulster County, we realized that in order to have that next generation of job seekers, we have to be able to train them.
I definitely benefited me a lot. It made me grow as a person, helped me grow as a person.
We need the pipeline started right now to be able to get to where we need to get to fill those jobs. I think with Empower Kingston, I think it's a real opportunity to be able to kind of explain that, look, these are the 5 or 6 different steps that you can take. These are ways that you can be involved in our campaign to be able to help make sure that the community understands, one, the impact that they have, but also all of these amazing tools and resources that are actually available to them to really be able to move the needle.
Now's the point when we can pitch in and put our shoulder to the wheel and turn this the way that it needs to go.